Discipline isn't a birthright. It's not a trait reserved for the elite or a spark that magically appears. It's a choice, a muscle, a habit. And there's one habit, just one, that can rewire your brain to make discipline not just achievable, but inevitable. Stay with me, because by the time I'm done, you'll know exactly what it is, why it works, and how to make it yours. This isn't a feel-good pep talk. This is a blueprint backed by science, forged in practice, and proven by those who've transformed their lives. Most people think discipline is about sheer willpower. They think it's about grinding through pain, forcing yourself to do things you dread. They're dead wrong. Willpower is a matchstick. It ignites fast, but it burns out just as quick. Discipline, that's a furnace, steady, relentless, unyielding, and it's built through a single habit that reshapes how your brain functions. This isn't theory, this is fact, grounded in neuroscience and lived by the most driven people on Earth. Let's talk about your brain. Right now, it's wired for survival. It's programmed to chase comfort, crave instant rewards, and dodge anything that smells like effort. That's why you hit snooze instead of getting up. That's why you scroll your phone instead of working on your goals. That's why you tell yourself tomorrow when you know tomorrow's just a lie. You keep buying. Your brain is on autopilot. And autopilot is the enemy of discipline. It's keeping you trapped, cycling through the same habits, day after day, year after year. But here's the truth. Your brain can change. It's called neuroplasticity. Every choice you make, every action you take, carves new pathways in your brain. Bad habits, they're just well-trodden paths your brain defaults to. Discipline, that's a new road you build. One deliberate step at a time, and there's one habit that acts like a bulldozer, clearing the way for unstoppable discipline. It's called the 2-minute commitment. The 2-minute commitment is simple, but don't let that fool you. It's a weapon. Here's how it works. Whatever you want to achieve, writing a book, getting in shape, launching a business, you start with just 2 minutes. Not an hour, not 10 minutes. 2. You commit to the smallest possible version of that task every single day, no exceptions. That's it. 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes are the spark that sets your brain ablaze with discipline. Why 2 minutes? Because your brain is a master at self-preservation. It hates big changes. Tell it to run a marathon and it'll slam the brakes. Tell it to write a novel and it'll freeze. But 2 minutes, it can't argue with that. It's too small to trigger resistance. And when you do those 2 minutes, something powerful happens. You're not just checking a box, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that action comes before motivation. You're building a habit loop that grows stronger with every repetition. Most people fail because they wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect plan. But motivation is a con artist. It shows up after you start, not before. The 2-minute commitment bypasses that trap. You don't need to feel like doing it. You don't need a surge of inspiration. You just need to start. 2 minutes. That's the secret to breaking the cycle of procrastination and building discipline that doesn't quit. Let's make this concrete. Say you want to get fit. The gym feels like a mountain, right? Most people plan to work out for an hour, then crash when they can't sustain it. With the 2-minute commitment, you don't hit the gym for an hour. You don't even do a full workout. You put on your running shoes. That takes less than 2 minutes. Do that every day and your brain starts to see exercise as non-negotiable. Soon, putting on your shoes leads to a walk. A walk becomes a jog. A jog becomes a routine. That's not magic. That's discipline. Or maybe you want to write a book. The blank page is a nightmare. Most people stare at it, paralyzed, and give up. With the 2-minute commitment, you don't write a chapter. You don't even write a paragraph. You write one sentence, just one. Takes less than 2 minutes. Do that every day, and your brain rewires itself. Writing becomes part of who you are. One sentence turns into two. Two become a page. A page becomes a book. That's how novels get written, not through bursts of genius, but through small, consistent actions. But here's where it gets real. The 2-minute commitment isn't just about starting small. It's about showing up every single day. No excuses, no days off. Consistency is what rewires your brain. Every time you follow through, you strengthen a neural pathway. You're not just building a habit, you're building a new version of yourself. Miss a day and you weaken that pathway. Skip 2 days and you're sliding backward. The key is relentless consistency. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You might be thinking, 2 minutes? That's not enough to change my life. And you're right, it's not about the 2 minutes. It's about what those 2 minutes represent. They're a contract with yourself, a promise. Every time you keep that promise, you build trust in yourself. You prove you're someone who does what they say they'll do. That's the foundation of discipline. That's the spark that sets everything else in motion. Let's dive into the science. Studies on habit formation, like those from University College London, show that small, consistent actions create stronger neural pathways than sporadic, intense efforts. It's called the compound effect. One tiny action doesn't seem like much, but stack those actions day after day, and they become unstoppable. Your brain doesn't care about the size of the action, it cares about the repetition. The 2-minute commitment leverages that. It's not about intensity, it's about showing up. Think about it. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you say you'll work out, or study, or start that project, and then you don't, you chip away at your self-trust. You teach your brain that your goals don't matter. The 2-minute commitment reverses that damage. It's a daily vote for the person you want to become, and every vote counts, every single one. But here's the real power. This habit doesn't just build discipline in one area, it spills over. Once you master the 2-minute commitment for one goal, you start applying it to everything. Your work, your health, your relationships. You become someone who acts, not someone who dreams. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission or perfect conditions. You become unstoppable.
Take Sarah. She was a single mom, working 2 jobs, barely keeping it together. She wanted to start a business, but she had no time, no energy, and no confidence. Then she heard about the 2-minute commitment. Her goal? Build an online store. Her 2-minute action? Write down one product idea every day. Just one. Took less than 2 minutes. She did it every day for a month. Then she started researching one of those ideas for 2 minutes a day. Then she built a website 2 minutes at a time. Today, Sarah's business brings in 6 figures, not because she had more time or talent than you, but because she showed up for 2 minutes every single day. Or consider James. He was overweight, out of shape, and ashamed of how he'd let himself go. He tried diets, gym memberships, all of it. Nothing stuck. Then he tried the 2-minute commitment. His action? Do 1 push-up every morning. Just 1. Took 10 seconds, but he did it every day. Soon, 1 push-up became 5, 5 became a short workout. A year later, James had lost 50 pounds and ran his first marathon. 1 push-up didn't change his body, but it changed his brain. It made discipline his default. These aren't superheroes. They're people like you. The only difference? They committed to 2 minutes. And they didn't stop. That's the power of this habit. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. It's about showing up when it's hard, when you're tired, when you don't feel like it. That's when the real change happens. So how do you make this work? It's simple, but it's not easy. Step 1, pick one goal, just one. Don't try to overhaul your entire life at once. Want to get fit? Great. Want to learn a skill? Perfect. Pick one thing. Step 2, define your 2-minute action. Make it so small it's laughable. Want to read more? Read 1 page. Want to meditate? Sit still for 2 minutes. Step 3, do it at the same time every day. Anchor it to an existing routine, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. Step 4, track it. Get a notebook, an app, a calendar. Mark every day you do it. That visual proof fuels your momentum. This is my habit tracker. Every day, I do my 2-minute commitment. I put an X here. Doesn't sound like much, but those X's are my proof. They're my victories. And every X makes the next one easier. That's the power of momentum. Once you start, you don't want to break the chain. You start craving that X. It becomes a game you play with yourself,
A game you win every day. Now let's tackle the obstacles, because they're coming. You'll have bad days. Busy days. Days where you feel like giving up. That's when the 2-minute commitment shines. It's so small you can do it no matter what. Tired? Do your 2 minutes. Stressed? Do your 2 minutes. Traveling? Do your 2 minutes. There's no excuse small enough to stop you. And when you push through those tough days, your brain learns something powerful. Nothing can stop you. Not your mood. Not your circumstances. Not your doubts. That's the moment discipline becomes real. When you show up on the days you don't want to, you're not just building a habit, you're building character. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. That's what separates the people who succeed from the people who wish. The 2-minute commitment is your tool to cross that line. Let's go deeper into the brain. When you perform a consistent action, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. That's why habits feel rewarding. But here's the catch. Dopamine doesn't come from thinking about the action. It comes from doing it. The 2-minute commitment hacks that system. It's so easy to start. You get that dopamine hit every day. Over time, your brain starts craving that action, not avoiding it. That's when discipline stops being a struggle and starts being automatic. There's more. The basal ganglia, the part of your brain that controls habits, doesn't distinguish between big actions and small ones. It just cares about repetition. That's why the 2-minute commitment is so effective. It's a Trojan horse. You sneak past your brain's defenses with a tiny action, but the repetition builds a habit as strong as any. Over time, that habit becomes your default. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. Look at the most successful people in the world. Athletes, CEOs, artists. They're not superhuman. They're just consistent. They show up every day, even when it's hard. The 2-minute commitment is how you join their ranks. It's the habit that turns potential into results. It's the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Consider Maria. She was a teacher, burned out, dreaming of becoming a painter, but she hadn't picked up a brush in years. Life was too busy, she told herself. Then she tried the 2-minute commitment. Her action: sketch 1 line on a canvas. Every evening, just one, took less than 2 minutes. She did it every day for a month. Then she started adding a second line, then a shape, then a full sketch. Within a year, Maria had a portfolio and her first gallery show. That one line didn't make her an artist, but it made her someone who showed up. That's discipline. Or take David. He was drowning in debt, working a dead-end job, desperate to learn coding to change his career. But coding felt overwhelming. He tried the 2-minute commitment. His action: write 1 line of code every morning. Just one. Took less than 2 minutes. He did it every day, no matter what. Soon, 1 line became a small program. A small program became a project. 2 years later, David landed a 6-figure tech job. That 1 line didn't get him the job, but it rewired his brain to make action his default. The beauty of the 2-minute commitment is its scalability. It's not just about the 2 minutes. It's about what those 2 minutes unlock. Once you build the habit of showing up, you can expand it. 2 minutes become 5, 5 become 10, 10 become an hour. But you don't start there. You start small, because small is sustainable. Small is what sticks. Let's talk about why other approaches fail. Big goals are exciting, but they're also paralyzing. Tell yourself you'll work out for an hour every day, and you'll burn out in a week. Tell yourself you'll write a chapter a day, and you'll freeze before you start. Big goals trigger your brain's fear response. They make you feel overwhelmed, inadequate, stuck. The 2-minute commitment is different. It's so small it bypasses fear. It's so easy. It's impossible to fail. And every success, no matter how small, builds confidence. That's the secret sauce. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn. Every time you complete your 2-minute action, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. You're building a track record of wins, and those wins stack up. They change how you see yourself. You stop being the person who procrastinates, who quits, who dreams but never acts. You become the person who shows up, who follows through, who gets it done. Let's address another objection. You might think, I've tried habits before, and they never. That's because most habits are built on shaky ground. People rely on motivation,
which fades. They set goals that are too big, which overwhelm. They don't track their progress, so they lose momentum. The 2-minute commitment fixes all of that. It's small enough to sustain, consistent enough to stick, and trackable enough to keep you hooked. Tracking is critical. There's a reason I keep talking about those X's in my habit tracker. They're not just marks on a page. They're evident. They're proof that you're becoming the person you want to be. Every X is a victory. Every X is a step toward discipline. And the more X's you see, the more you want to keep going. It's a feedback loop that fuels itself. You don't need willpower. You need a system. The 2-minute commitment is that system.
Let's talk about the long game. Discipline isn't just about achieving one goal. It's about becoming someone who can achieve any goal. The 2-minute commitment rewires your brain to make action your default response. You stop overthinking, you stop waiting, you start doing, and that shift changes everything. It changes how you work, how you live, how you see yourself. It turns you into someone who doesn't just survive life but shapes it. Think about the ripple effects. You start with a 2-minute action to get fit. That leads to a workout routine. That leads to better health. More energy, more confidence. That confidence spills into your work. You start a 2-minute action to improve your skills. That leads to a promotion, a new career, a bigger impact. That impact inspires your relationships. You become someone who inspires others not because you're perfect, but because you show up. That's the power of discipline. It's not just about one habit. It's about a life transformed. Let's go back to the brain one more time. The prefrontal cortex, the part that controls planning and decision-making, is like a muscle. It gets tired. That's why willpower fails you at the end of a long day. The 2-minute commitment doesn't rely on the prefrontal cortex. It relies on the basal ganglia, the habit center, which runs on autopilot. Once your 2-minute action becomes a habit, it's effortless. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't debate it. You just do it. That's the goal, to make discipline as automatic as breathing. But automatic doesn't mean boring. There's nothing boring about becoming unstoppable. There's nothing boring about achieving your dreams. There's nothing boring about looking in the mirror and knowing you're someone who follows through. The 2-minute commitment is the key to that transformation. It's the habit that makes everything else possible. Let's talk about failure, because you will fail. Not in the big catastrophic way you're imagining, but in the small human way. You'll miss a day. You'll skip your 2-minute action. You'll feel like you've blown it. Here's the truth. One missed day doesn't ruin you. The danger is letting one missed day become 2, then 3, then a week. The 2-minute commitment is designed to make failure easy to recover from. It's so small you can jump back in without guilt. Missed a day? Do your 2 minutes today. That's it. You're back on track. The key is to treat failure like feedback. If you miss a day, ask why. Was your action too big? Make it smaller. Was the timing off? Tie it to a better routine. Was life chaotic? Find a way to make those 2 minutes non-negotiable. Failure isn't the enemy. Quitting is. The 2-minute commitment keeps you in the game, no matter what. Let's talk about the bigger picture. Why does discipline matter? Because your life is the sum of your habits. Your health, your career, your relationships. They're all built on what you do every day. The 2-minute commitment gives you control over those habits. It lets you choose who you become. Want to be healthy? Start with 2 minutes. Want to be successful? Start with 2 minutes. Want to be someone you're proud of? Start with 2 minutes. It's not about the time, it's about the intention. Consider Emily. She was a student, struggling with anxiety, barely passing her classes. She wanted to get organized, but her to-do lists were endless. She tried the 2-minute commitment. Her action, write down one task every morning, just one. Took less than 2 minutes. She did it every day. Soon, one task became a short list. A short list became a study schedule. A year later, Emily was on the dean's list. That one task didn't make her a straight-A student, but it made her someone who showed up for herself. Or take Mike. He was a musician, talented but inconsistent, always waiting for inspiration. He tried the 2-minute commitment. His action, play one chord on his guitar every evening, just one. Took less than 2 minutes. He did it every day. Soon,
One chord became a riff became a song. 2 years later, Michael had an album and a growing fan base. That one chord didn't make him a star, but it made him someone who acted, not waited. The 2-minute commitment works because it's universal. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, or it doesn't matter if you're busy, tired, or broke. 2 minutes is always possible, and 2 minutes is always enough to start. That's the beauty of it. It's a habit that fits every life, every goal, every dream. Let's talk about momentum. Once you start, something shifts. Those 2 minutes become a ritual. They become sacred. You start looking forward to them. Not because they're fun, but because they're yours. They're your proof that you're in control, and that momentum builds. You start adding more 2-minute habits. 2 minutes of exercise, 2 minutes of writing, 2 minutes of learning. Each one strengthens the others. Each one makes you stronger. But momentum isn't automatic. It takes intention. You have to protect those 2 minutes. You have to make them non-negotiable. That means saying no to distraction. That means prioritizing yourself. That means treating those 2 minutes like the most important appointment of your day. Because they are. They're the appointment you make with your future self. Let's address another doubt. You might think, I don't have time for that. But let's be real. You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes while your coffee brews. You have 2 minutes while you wait for a meeting. You have 2 minutes before you go to bed. Time isn't a problem. Priority is. The 2-minute commitment forces you to prioritize what matters. It forces you to stop making excuses and start making progress. And progress is addictive. Once you see those X's piling up in your habit tracker, you don't want to stop. Once you see your life changing, your body getting stronger, your skills improving, your dreams getting closer, you don't want to go back. The 2-minute commitment isn't just a habit. It's a gateway to a life you're proud of. Let's talk about identity, because that's what this is really about. Discipline isn't about what you do, it's about who you are. The 2-minute commitment changes your identity. It turns you into someone who shows up, someone who follows through, someone who doesn't let fear or doubt or laziness win. Every time you do those 2 minutes, you're reinforcing that identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am, this is what I do. That's why the 2-minute commitment is so powerful. It's not just about the action, it's about the story you tell yourself. You stop being the person who procrastinates, who quits, who settles. You become the person who acts, who persists, who succeeds. And that shift changes everything. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how others see you. It changes what's possible for you. Let's talk about the stakes, because this isn't just about habits or goals. This is about your life. Every day you don't act, you're choosing to stay stuck. Every day you let excuses win, you're choosing to let your dreams slip away. The 2-minute commitment is your way out. It's your chance to take control. It's your chance to build a life that matches your potential. But it's not enough to hear this. It's not enough to nod along. You have to act. The 2-minute commitment only works if you do it. So here's my challenge to you. Right now, pick one goal, one thing you've been putting off. Write it down. Then write down your 2-minute action. Not tomorrow, not later, now, and tonight. Before you go to bed, do it. 2 minutes, that's all I'm asking. Do it. And you've taken the first step toward rewiring your brain for unstoppable discipline. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about becoming someone who doesn't wait for motivation, who doesn't need permission, who doesn't make excuses. The 2-minute commitment is your key. It's the habit that unlocks everything else. Start today. Start now. And watch what happens when you show up for yourself. Day after day. But let's not stop there. Let's talk about how to make this stick for the long haul. Because building discipline isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. The first few days are easy. You're excited, you're motivated. You're ready to change. But what happens when the excitement fades? What happens when life gets in the way? That's when the real work begins. That's when the 2-minute commitment proves its worth. The key to long-term success is environment. Your environment shapes your habits. If you're surrounded by distractions, your phone buzzing, your desk cluttered, your schedule chaotic, your 2-minute action will feel like a battle. But if you design your environment to support your habit, it becomes effortless. Want to write every day? Keep a notebook on your desk, open to a blank page. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to learn? Have your app or book ready to go. Make your 2-minute action the easiest thing you can do.
Accountability is another piece of the puzzle. Tell someone about your 2-minute commitment. Share your goal with a friend, a partner, a colleague. Better yet, find someone to do it with you. When you know someone's watching,